Happy Earth Day Sunday, and welcome to the online service of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Urbana-Champaign. Our mission is to build community, seek inspiration, promote justice, and find peace. I am the Reverend Florence Caplow, the minister of this church, coming to you live from my home with the help of many others, and particularly AV gurus Chris Hanauer and Sean Bartel. Many thanks to them for helping to really create miracles every Sunday. It has been 50 years since the first Earth Day. Hard to believe. Usually we think of Earth Day as a time to reconnect to our commitment to protecting and saving the earth. But today, I want to honor the way the earth supports us and holds us, especially at this profoundly difficult time that people across the world are experiencing. The earth is always holding us, from before our birth to after our death. We come from the earth, and we rest. We can always rest in the strength and the beauty of the earth. I have asked my good friend Dana Lyons, an internationally known environmentalist singer-songwriter, to join me today from Washington State with stories and songs that honor this connection between us and Earth. Our own Sarah Wisman will share some stories as well of being held and supported by the Earth, and we have just some beautiful music for you today. Please rest. Feel the earth beneath you, and let your spirit be filled this morning. If you want to follow along with the order of service, you can find a copy of that on the live stream page that you can open up to watch. And if you have a joy or sorrow to be shared this morning, during the prelude, you'll see an email where you can send that joy or sorrow, and it will be shared aloud. For our prelude, we have something quite extraordinary. Our choir has created a virtual performance for you, each person recording from their home under the direction of our choir director, Austin Cody, and with the tremendous technical help of new member Paul Weston. Thank you, Paul. Please enjoy the old hymn, For the Beauty of the Earth. Each Sunday, we begin our services with a land acknowledgement of and honoring the indigenous peoples of this place. Wherever you are this morning, I invite you to bring to mind the indigenous nations of your place. As I speak these words, we will have a moment of silence after the acknowledgement. We recognize and acknowledge that we are here today on indigenous land, taken through deception, coercion, and violence. We acknowledge the continued displacement and oppression of Native peoples and honor their commitments to survival, identity, and the protection of our world. Each Sunday, we also light a flaming chalice as part of our Unitarian Universalist tradition. And the words of our chalice lighting will become visible on your screen. Feel free to light a chalice or candle in your home as I light a chalice here. These particular words by the poet Nancy Wood supported and sustained me as a teenager in very dark times. May they touch you too this morning. Earth, cure me. Earth, receive my woe. Rock, strengthen me. Rock, receive my weakness. Rain, receive my sadness. Rain, wash my doubt away. Sun, make sweet my song. Sun, receive the anger from my heart. I am so happy to have Dana Lyons here with us this morning. And especially this first song, a song of wisdom from the wisdom of a Native American elder, Willie Cooper, who was very, very dear to me and also to Dana. Thank you, Dana, for joining us today from faraway Washington State to share your songs and wisdoms with us.
Good morning, everyone in Illinois and around the world, wherever you happen to be watching from. I'm very happy to be here as part of this Earth Day service for the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. I want to thank my dear friend, Reverend Florence Kaplow, for inviting me here today. Florence and I go way back. We've worked on many interesting projects for many decades, and really an honor to be with you. This is my first live streaming worship service. Wish me luck. We're all figuring this out as we go. I'm sure you're fiddling with the knobs on your computer too. How do I do this? But I am very happy to be with you here during this service. I had my first Zoom classroom sing-along earlier this week, and that was totally a trip. I was singing for a bunch of elementary school students. It's the first sing-along I've ever done where I could not hear the other people singing. And it was such a treat to watch their faces up there on the Zoom screen. And they're laughing and they're giggling and they're singing and they're dancing around and just having a great time. And it was just so heartwarming. It was wonderful. And so I don't know if you are going to laugh and giggle and dance around during the two songs I'm going to play during this service. But you're in the privacy of your own home, so you can do whatever you want. Okay. This first song that Florence requested is called Willie Says. And this is a song about a leader and an elder here where I live in Bellingham, Washington. It's about our friend Willie Cooper, who was a Lummi Indian elder and leader. She's no longer with us. She passed on, I don't know, about 20 years ago. She was a small person in stature, but a huge personality. And she was famous on the Lummi Indian Reservation for showing up at the Lummi Council meetings and cracking the whip when things weren't getting done. So she had a great sense of humor, a very powerful personality. She and her husband, Chattascalum Wichtalum, also known as Kenny Cooper, were largely responsible for leading the fight to reinstitute the Native American Lummi religion. And as many of you are aware, Native American religion was illegal in the United States until the mid-70s in many places. So they were instrumental in that. So real powerful forces. So it's really happy to sing. It's really a pleasure for me to sing the song to honor Willie. Willie says, here's a story that you may not comprehend, but the parking lot will crack and bloom again. There's a world beneath the pavement that will never end. The seeds are lying dormant, it will never end. Willie says, if you listen, you can hear the sound of birds, hear their song above the chaos, hear their words. Listen to their love song that will never end. The seeds are lying dormant, it will never end. If you listen, you may hear. And the old one sits with me above the city, while I watch the madness of the world below. And then she laughs and tells me that it's temporary. Underneath the wild garden waits to grow. Willie says, when you say you are afraid, I understand. In a place where one can rarely smell the land, but the ocean breeze still blows here that will never end. The seeds are lying dormant, it will never end. Willie says, if you listen to this tree, you'll hear its song. It's the music that my people pass along. It's a dream that keeps returning, that will never end. The seeds are lying dormant, it will never end. If you listen, you may hear. And the old one sits with me above the city, while I watch the madness of the world below. Then she laughs and tells me that it's temporary. Underneath the wild garden waits to grow. Willie says, here's a story that you may not comprehend, but the forest here will rise and bloom again. There's a world beneath the pavement that will never end. The seeds are lying dormant, it will never end. Listen to their love song that will never end. It's a dream that keeps returning, that will never end, never end, never end, never end, never end. And Willie says, Willie says, Willie says, Willie says, Willie
Thank you, Dana. The hymn we are about to sing is hymn number 27, I Am That Great and Fiery Force. This was written by Hildegard von Bingen in the 12th century, a mystic, composer, philosopher, and visionary, celebrating the power that runs through all things. The words will be on your screen. Please join in singing with Emily McCown if you feel so moved. We as Unitarian Universalists acknowledge and celebrate that we are part of the interconnected web of life, the web of our connections with each other, with our community, and with the wider world. We are a purposeful and resilient community, and we are finding so many ways to be together and to take care of each other at this time. Wherever you are, you are part of us, and we want to be here for you. If you would like to connect more with us and know of ways that you can participate, please sign up for our e-news at the link on our live stream page, or visit our website, and particularly our COVID-19 resources page. Next week, we have one of our Pathways to Membership classes, which I co-teach with Sherry Bolin. If you are feeling called to be a member of this congregation, regardless of where you live, I invite you to consider taking that class. You can sign up on our website. Finally, and this is hard to say, Since the beginning of the shutdown, we have seen a really dramatic drop in donations to our church. I know that we are all distracted. I know that I'm distracted. But UUCUC, like so many nonprofits, is both truly committed to creating a new kind of online community at this time that can support us. And also, we are wondering about our financial support and what that will mean for our future. If this church matters to you, whether you're a member or a friend or someone who is just receiving some spiritual sustenance from these Sunday mornings, I invite you to really consider donating, whether that's online through our really easy online donation system or by text. You'll see how you can do that in just a moment on the next slide after our shared offering begins. Or by sending in a check. But please know that we do depend on you. Everything that happens in this church comes from you. Each Sunday, we always share half of our Sunday offering with a local organization in alignment with our values. And this is voted on by members and friends each year. Our shared offering for March is RACES, Rape, Advocacy, Counseling, and Education Services. The offering will now be received. Nothing like a little Bach to bring some morning joy. Each Sunday, we bring our individual joys and sorrows to our time together. Wherever you are listening or watching today, please bring to mind the joys or sorrows in your own life or those you love as we sing a blessing song. And you can sing along with the song or just let it wash over you as a blessing. Thank you all who have sent in joys and sorrows today, and we're working on the technology for it, and I have high hopes that I will get them all this morning, but also apologies if I miss any, and we will be sure to run them in the e-news on Wednesday. From Jessica Augustin. I am very happy to announce that we brought Mom home from the nursing home on Thursday. She had been there for over a month after foot surgery. Her foot is healing well, and my dad and I are so glad to have her home. From Charlie and Marcia Clinard. Please keep us, Charlie and Marcia, in your thoughts as Charlie decides which treatment option to choose for his recently diagnosed prostate cancer. A joy to share from Sam Bashirs. Reasons to be grateful for the many, many people throughout our country who are loving, caring, intelligent, and capable, who believe in the ideals of our country, and who in times of great need are going above and beyond the call of duty to help those in need. From Christine Cahill. A deep sorrow for all the students who won't be returning to school this year. I am relieved, of course, but grieving, especially for all the students for whom school is a safe harbor. From Kathleen Robbins. Sorrow. Reginald Knoll, a great friend and key supporter of the Jatropha Progenu, died this past week in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. And joy, the Jatropha Progenu team in Northeast Haiti has produced 9,000 bars of soap and 120 gallons of liquid soap for hospitals, clinics, and orphanages to help fight the pandemic. From Aaron Dittmer. Sorrow that schools across Illinois are officially closed. I am grieving the loss of the end of the school year and all its attending special joys and rituals, despite knowing that these measures are for the best. Joy for silver linings, a renewed appreciation for the solidarity of community, more time to spend in the garden, and the distraction of a new puppy. Joy from Kyle Croha. Happy that my little dog Paisley seems to be on the mend. Her left hind leg was nearly non-weight-bearing Friday night after an enthusiastic walk. Rest and Deramax seems to have helped her turn the corner from the prospect of a potential ACL surgery. Fingers still crossed. And from David Gross. Yesterday all day, I participated in the live video version of Regional Assembly of the Mid-America region of the UUA. It was a joy to sort of connect with 300 other UUs. Currently, the AV broadcast skills of our home UUCUC crew are far greater than are the new skills of the UUA staff. Thank you, UUCUC. And again, apologies if there were any not read. There are a few more that just came in. Let me do these. From Marie McEnroe. Sorry, that one was for something else. From Jenny Hunt. Joy and relief that it appears our niece Sierra has fully recovered from probable COVID-19 in Ohio. So glad she is up and about at home with her new Great Dane puppy. There's a kind of puppy theme going on here. From Christy Wickman. I am thinking of a dear friend who recently lost her 90-year-old father to COVID-19 and is grieving her loss as she didn't get to say goodbye. I also want to recognize the tragic loss of life in our own community that actually happened last week, but the 15-year-old boy who was shot and killed as he was riding his bicycle in southeast Urbana. Each of these losses touches so many. We will have a time now of music and meditation, reflection and prayer as we listen to our own Kathleen Winters play her flute outside. She'll be playing The Lark Ascending by Vaughan Williams. And if you listen carefully, you may hear some of the animals around her as well.
I grew up loving the ocean. Near my grandfather's house on the coast of Maine is a huge rock that I escape to every summer. As I perched on top, gazing at the Atlantic, seagulls dived and shrieked around me. The waves rolled in, crashing against boulders and frothing around my feet. I'd hunch in my inadequate jacket, enjoying being cold and alone with my teenage self. Sometimes I imagined I was a bird, a stormy petrel, skimming over the waves, able to ride the wind, soaring above rain and lightning, away from all hurt and worry. Years later, my parents bought a house on Cape Cod with a spectacular view of a saltwater marsh. From the living room, we watched blue herons standing one-legged in the water and unwary clam diggers sinking into the black mud. The tide levels and the light changed by the hour, providing endless variety. Nearby was a long beach for walking, with a choice of shoreline or a lonely road behind the dunes leading to a picturesque lighthouse. One of my best memories dates to the day before my dad's memorial service. We knew our father wanted his ashes to be scattered below the house in that marsh. Mindful of ticks, my brother, stepmother, and I changed into our oldest clothes. Looking like vagabonds, the three of us headed down to the marsh. My brother Nick stopped. "Wait," he said, and loped back to the house. He returned a few minutes later with a freshly made martini. Dad would have liked this, he said, being chased on his last journey with his favorite drink. Jan and I agreed. And so at the service, Nick began his eulogy. My father is currently floating around somewhere in Bucks Creek, along with the immortal martini. Until recently, my beach longing was eased by frequent visits to Lake Michigan near my son's house. The wave action and long empty beaches reminds me of Cape Cod, minus the salt smell, horseshoe crabs, and seaweed. But in this strange time of COVID, we must all find nature closer to home. I am so grateful to have a backyard. I perch on a concrete bench facing the berm we built out of earth and rocks from a failed pond. There are no waves or big horizons, just squirrels and voles and rabbits and birds, so many birds. A few minutes sitting here restores me for another day. And this is enough.
Every time I feel this way, this old familiar sinking, I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. Down by the water, where the river will never run dry. It's been said, and I do believe, as you ask, so shall you receive. So take from me these troubles, bring me sweet release, where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be loved. I'm gonna let myself be loved. By and by, I will lay my troubles down by the water, where the river will never run dry. There is a river in this heart of hearts, with a knowingness, a I will do my part where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. Myself be hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be hallelujah. I'm gonna let myself be by and by I will lay my troubles down by the water where the river will never run dry. Hallelujah. Down by the water where the river will never run dry. Where the river will never run dry. This river will never run dry. Thank you, Amy and Jamie, for Hallelujah, and Sarah Wisman for your sweet reflection. I recently came across another poem by the same poet who we quoted at the beginning in our chalice lighting, Nancy Wood, the late poet Nancy Wood. And it says all that I feel so perfectly. It is offered with permission of the Nancy Wood Literary Trust. It's called The World's Harsh Breath. What can I do when I feel the world's harsh breath and know that if I stay too long in its path, my path shall be burned up also? I must go back to the land again and find the eagle at home with the rock. I must climb to the mountaintop and find the spot where the river begins. I must lie quietly beside the earth and find the warmth of its heart. I must turn my vision to the sky and find the purpose of the clouds. Then trouble seems far away, and the breath which consumes all beauty has passed right over me. All my life, I have turned to the land, to the forest, the plants, the sky, and the earth in times of trouble. As a teen, plagued by depression, my greatest solace was to ride my bicycle out to West Terre Haute. My mother had bought a little piece of land out there, 5 acres of a hill and a field and a little creek running down through the bottom of it. And I would go into a neighbor's field and lie between the stalks of corn that were growing so vigorously. Or I'd go down by the creek and sit by the water and listen to that water, let that water wash my sadness away. I became a botanist, I think partly because I wanted to give back to the world, the natural world, the green world that had given me so much. Even today, the glimpse of a wildflower, seeing the branches of a tree outlined against the sky, it brings me back to myself from wherever I've gone, from wherever I am lost. We are supported by the earth every day, every night. The food we eat comes from the earth. Our bodies are made from earth. Gravity holds us close to the earth. We nestle in the arms of the earth, and when we die, we return completely to her, although actually we've never left. The most famous gesture of the Buddha in the many, many millions of statues of the Buddha is one that shows him sitting cross-legged with one hand touching the earth. And the story is that on the night of his enlightenment, the Lord of Delusion came to him and said, "What right do you have to wake up to full wisdom and compassion?" And he touched the earth to ask for the earth's witnessing of his right for that awakening. And it said that the earth shook and trembled and flowers dropped down from the sky. So we too can touch the earth. We too can reach down and ask the earth to witness our right to happiness, to waking up in whatever way we may wake up. So I think in all these ways we can connect with the earth. We can find ourselves again through the earth. On the cover of the Order of Service, you'll see a photo of a bench beneath an old oak tree. And that photo was one I took at Spirit Rock Meditation Center, a place I've spent much time over the years in Marin County in Central California near the coast. The retreat center has nearly 400 acres of wild hills and forests and meadows. And I've done several very long silent retreats there, and my habit has been to do most of those retreats outside. And that particular tree is where I spent the best part of a 2-month silent retreat. And I really felt the support of that tree. I felt its deep rootedness. I felt its age, so much older than I am, and its willingness to stand there in the midst of every storm, every kind of weather. It inspired me to keep going when the inevitable difficulties arose. There is a kind of therapy called earthing therapy. It's supposed to be particularly good for insomnia, but also for your immune system, for your general well-being. And that is a practice of actually putting your hands and feet, your bare hands and feet, on the earth for at least 30 minutes every day. You can do this in a backyard. You can go for a barefoot walk. And the idea is that by connecting to the earth that way, it will help your own body, again, made from the earth, to renew itself and to ground and find peace. You might explore this if you have access to earth somewhere, when it's a little bit warmer and it's easier to walk in bare feet. Give it a try. I've been really struck by the massive amounts of gardening that are going on everywhere. Some of that might be from concerns about food shortages, but I think a lot of it is just that suddenly none of us are really preparing for big summer travels. And we want to make the place where we are beautiful and bountiful. And that really gives me a lot of hope and joy that people are connecting, as Sarah said, with a place right where we are, not some beautiful faraway place, and I have a few of those in my life too, but your own yard, or even a pea patch if you don't have a yard, or a nearby park that we can connect to. So for all of those gardeners out there, many blessings for a rich and beautiful garden this year, maybe the best ever. My neighborhood is a wonderful, warm neighborhood, my particular street, and I am very lucky in my neighbors. Amy and Jamie live across the street from me, and so does Ming Kuo, Dr. Ming Kuo, who has really garnered international renown for her work. She leads the Landscape and Human Health Laboratory at the U of I, and her research convincingly links healthy urban ecosystems to stronger, safer neighborhoods, lower crime, reduced ADHD symptoms, reduced aggression, and an array of other mental and physical health indicators. Dr. Kuo's work, this is from her website, but I've also talked to her about this a lot. Her work is really fascinating, has spurred increased urban forestry efforts in Wales, Germany, the Netherlands, the Caribbean, and the United States. And a couple of years ago, she was awarded the Heinz Award, the highest award here in Illinois, for her research work and for helping the people of Illinois through her work. So this is real. Science says so. Our connections to the earth can help us and can help our communities in so many ways. So I invite you today, going forward in these just continued, confusing, painful, sad, fearful times, to really, really let this earth hold you. Let the earth hold you in her arms in whatever way you can connect with her. And in return, thank the earth for that holding and supporting of all of us. Let's return the favor with our love and commitment to the earth, who still needs us, even as these times, to stand up for her, to hold out our hands and give back our determination to protect her no matter what. And now I turn you over to Dana again for a prayer for this land.
This song is called Prayer for This Land, and it was inspired by a conversation I had with my friend John Seed. And John Seed comes from New South Wales, Australia. And I met John at an environmental conference on the Grand Canyon back in 1987. We were on the North Rim. It was a wild and beautiful place, and we hit it off immediately. And John said, "Hey, you got to come tour with me in Australia." And I'm like, "Oh, I am there. When are we going?" And we went the next year, and we toured for a month in Australia and a month in New Zealand. And when I took that trip, it was my first time to Australia. I went for two reasons. One, I wanted to see Australia and New Zealand. And I wanted to ask John Seed one question. John Seed, he's a dear friend of mine. He's always been a mentor to me, and he's always been a hero to me. John Seed, more than anyone I've ever met, has probably saved more rainforests around the world. He organized over 400 rainforest action groups all over the world. He was a touring machine in his younger days. Now he's home singing on TV like me. And excuse me. But I wanted to ask him this question because to me he was one of the most brilliant organizers I had ever met. So I got to Australia and I'm waiting for the right time. It's kind of a big question and I wanted to be alone and he's a busy guy. And finally we're there on a beach somewhere and I was like, "Hey, John, can I ask you a question?" And I said, "What is your strategy for saving the earth from all this human destruction?" And he looked at me and he said, "Oh, mate, the earth is much too complex for anyone to really understand what's going to happen, and certainly for anyone to have a strategy on how to protect her and heal her." He said, I have no strategy. And then he said, "Probably the best thing you can do is to pray for a great green wave of support, a wave of humanity that wants to protect the earth, that wants to create a truly sustainable culture, that wants to protect all species and protect the earth for our future generations and ourselves for that matter." He says, maybe the best thing you can do is to pray for that wave. And he explained that no one person can create a wave of passion and strength and effort. No one can just go out and create a wave. It happens. It's a whole mix of things. It's a mix of happenstances. It's a mix of occurrences. It's a mix of millions of people all trying things. And then this one moment occurs, and then there's this huge movement of a wave of people, of humanity, working for Mother Earth. He said, mate, you gotta pray for that green wave, and while you're praying, you gotta polish your surfboard. And I thought that was both funny and fascinating. And I took polishing my surfboard to mean we each have skills. We each have things that we're really good at. And polishing a surfboard to me meant taking my skills and working at them and honing them and getting my skills as good as possible so my surfboard will be ready if that great green wave ever arrives. And so here's to that great green wave arriving soon. Happy Earth Day, everyone. Won't you please hear my prayer for this land? Won't you please hear my prayer for this land? And you know that I'm ready to do my part. I'm just standing by waiting for that wave to start. Well, now only the moon can turn the tide. You know that only the moon can turn the tide. So I kneel and I pray at the ocean side. And I watch for that wave, that great green wave to rise. There's a sparkle of hope in every eye. Yes, there's a sparkle of hope in every eye. those eyes sparkle at the same time. That's the time when that wave of love will rise. Won't you please hear my prayer for this land? Won't you please hear my prayer for this land? Won't you please hear my prayer?
Thank you, Dana. Dana is a humble guy, but he's collaborated with some of the most extraordinary environmental heroes of our time, not just John Seed, but also Jane Goodall and others. I really invite you to go to his website and look at his music and support him. We need to support our artists and musicians at this time. He was going to be on tour in Australia right about now. And of course, like so many professional musicians, that is no longer happening. We really need to take care of our creative people. They're taking care of us so well right now. Again, thank you. Thank you, Dana. It's always a pleasure to cause trouble with you, as we have over the years. I'd like to invite you to enjoy the next hymn or sing along. It's very easy. Emily has created a beautiful looped version of it. And you can just pick a line and sing, or just enjoy it as like our blessing song and let it wash over you. Hymn number 396, I Know This Rose Will Open.
Good morning. I've got a little sonic meditation for you. Hope it lifts your spirits. I know, I know,
For our closing words today, I want to use again the words from our chalice lighting, the ones that sustained me so much as a young person. Earth, cure me. Earth, receive my woe. Rock, strengthen me. Rock, receive my weakness. Rain, wash my sadness away. Rain, receive my doubt. Sun, make sweet my song. Sun, receive the anger from my heart. My blessing for you this morning and going forward, may the earth cure you, strengthen you, and make sweet your song. There's a chalice extinguishing that I'd like us to continue to do until we are truly together again. So please join in the words of this chalice extinguishing, and if you have a chalice at home, you can extinguish it right alongside me here. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Blessings.